In the jungles of the Philippines, life follows its own intricate laws. In the jungle, the survival of one often means the death of another. Such are the laws of nature. But when it comes to our loved ones or our pets, this state of affairs is completely unacceptable to the understanding of our brain. Olivia and Kevin are a young married couple who came to live permanently from America. They bought an old family farm on the outskirts of the province of Apricot. Along with the farm, they got an old dog, who guarded the farm for many years and was already old. They quickly realized that their old dog could no longer cope with guarding a vast territory bordering a wild tropical forest. That is why they decided to get a German Shepherd. The puppy was named Lion, and he grew up surrounded by the love and care of his owners. A particularly strong bond was established between him and Kevin. The dog followed him everywhere, like a shadow. The pet was affectionate, but his behavior sometimes made Olivia nervous, especially when he froze, staring into the jungle, and then began to growl deep in his throat, as if he saw something there that was inaccessible to the human eye. Soon after the puppy was born, their old dog died of old age. Now, when Lion went with Kevin into the forest or fishing, Olivia was left completely alone. For a girl who grew up in the city, this was a real test and was very scary. Nights in the Philippine jungle are special. Pitch darkness without a single street lamp, ominous cries of monkeys and rustling of invisible creatures in the undergrowth. For someone, this can be an exciting adventure, but not when you are alone in the middle of nowhere. When Kevin had to stay overnight in the remote areas of the farm, Olivia could not find a place for herself from fear. Understanding this, my husband came up with a solution. One day he came home and asked Olivia to get something from the car. A surprise was waiting for her in the passenger seat. A small German Shepherd, who immediately began to wag her tail and lick her face. The puppy was named Lucy. She was a girl, and she instantly charmed not only Olivia, but also Liona. The dogs became inseparable friends, played and had fun together. But one day everything changed in the most tragic way. By the time Lucy was 3, life on the farm had long since entered a measured course. The days flowed calmly and predictably. Lion still accompanied Kevin on his rounds of the territory, and Lucy was Olivia's faithful companion. On that fateful day, Kevin returned from his rounds of the territory and asked, "Where is Lion?" Olivia had not seen him all day, thinking that he had left with her husband. At that moment, they were seized by panic. All day Lucy was unusually agitated and barked constantly, trying to escape somewhere, so Olivia was forced to lock her in the house. Now the farmers understood. The dog sensed something. The last time they saw Lion was in the morning, when, as usual, he was the first one out. He always woke up before the sleepy Lucy. The fact that Kevin did not take Lion with him that morning was probably his fatal mistake. Putting Lucy on a leash, the farmers hoped that the dog would lead them to Lion, since they knew that dogs have an excellent sense of smell. Lucy rushed forward, barking furiously, and dragged them along the dirt path behind the house into the forest. What they saw there made the couple go cold with horror. The tracks of a huge python wound along the ground, but this was not what attracted their attention. Near the snake's tracks were scattered clumps of black and brown fur, stained in places with blood. Lucy whined softly, and the people realized that they would never see Lion again. In the darkness, they could do nothing and returned home with heavy hearts. Kevin was beside himself with rage. At dawn, he went to look for the snake. Although Lion was already gone, they could not allow a huge python to live so close to their home. In the backyard there was a chicken coop, and the farmers knew perfectly well how vulnerable it was. But despite the fact that after such a large catch the snake should be sedentary, they still could not find it. The trail ended in tall grass, as if someone had carried the python away through the air. The farmers searched for several days, but the snake seemed to have dissolved into the jungle. Months passed. The rainy season came and the python probably found a cozy place to hibernate. At home, Olivia and Kevin could not get rid of the feeling of guilt that they could not protect the dog. Even Lucy seemed depressed. She slept a lot and gained weight due to decreased activity. At least that's what they thought, until Olivia realized something amazing. Lucy was pregnant and expecting puppies. Puppies from Lion. It was like a small miracle, as if a piece of their beloved pet would return to them. The farmers carefully watched Lucy, trying to keep her close to home. Losing her or the puppies would be an unbearable loss. Everything was planned. 2 days before the birth, they were going to take her to the vet. But puppies, like children, do not take into account other people's plans. One evening, returning from dinner, Olivia and Kevin found Lucy in her bed, and next to her, several tiny puppies. As the couple recovered from their surprise, Lucy began to worry again, and soon a third puppy was born. But he showed no signs of life. Kevin picked him up and gently massaged his belly, pressing him to his chest, blowing into his nose. Suddenly the puppy began to breathe. When he was returned to his mother, everyone saw how much he resembled a puppy lion. It was both joyful and sad at the same time. For several months, the family lived peacefully. The puppies brought so much joy that the pain of losing Lion gradually subsided. But this idyll could not last forever. The danger was much closer than people thought. By the beginning of the dry season, the puppies had grown enough to play in the yard. The house had a reliable fence that did not allow the dogs to escape into the jungle. But that day it did not matter. Lucy carefully watched the puppies playing in the yard, when some sound or smell caught her attention. Before she could react, the puppies were almost right next to the huge python. Lucy threw herself between them, trying to protect them, but the puppies were too young and curious to understand the danger. The puppies tried their best to get closer to the strange creature. Every time one of the puppies approached the snake, Lucy blocked their path, but it was not easy to keep track of all three. Concentrating on the puppies, she did not notice how the python prepared to pounce. If Lucy had been watching the snake, she might have managed to dodge it. Although, considering that it was probably the same python that killed Lion, who knows how it would have all ended. Before Lucy could react, the snake wrapped itself around her head and began to tighten its coils. Olivia was in the house and heard Lucy barking and whining. She was about to go out to check what was going on when the barking stopped. The woman decided that everything was fine, not suspecting why her dog had suddenly gone silent. The dog simply couldn't breathe. Kevin was working in the workshop and didn't see or hear anything. If any of them had looked at the surveillance cameras, they would have immediately seen how much danger their dog was in. Lucy was completely at the mercy of the python. She couldn't bark and barely breathed. Was this the end? Was the snake going to make the three puppies orphans? The python was tightening its coils tighter and tighter. And then the incredible happened. When it seemed that there was no hope, all three puppies began barking furiously. They even tried to bite the snake, although their bites were nothing more than pinpricks for the python. All they achieved was the anger of the python, who in a rage sank his teeth into their mother Lucy to hold on to the prey more tightly. He squeezed the coils even tighter. The puppies couldn't help their mother, but their frantic barking caught Olivia's attention. She had never heard pets bark like that. And Lucy's lack of barking now scared her even more. What the woman saw in the yard made her go cold with horror. Her pet Lucy was in the deadly embrace of one of the largest pythons she had ever seen. 3 puppies were rushing around, watching the snake of the soul, their mother. Without wasting a second, Olivia hid the puppies in a nearby enclosure. At such a moment, it was critical to keep the babies safe. She screamed at Kevin to run to them immediately and take the vinegar with him. Hearing Olivia's terrified scream, Kevin immediately realized that something terrible had happened. He instantly guessed. This was the same python that killed their beloved dog Lion. The humans were determined not to lose another dog. He ran up to the python and splashed vinegar on the python's face. The humans knew that this could cause pain and suffering to Lucy, but there was nothing else to do. Feeling the smell and burning of the vinegar, the python unclenched its strong jaws. This gave Kevin and Olivia the opportunity to slip their hands between the body of the snake and the dog. Starting with the tail, the weakest part of the python, they carefully began to unwind the coils. At the same time, they held the snake's head away from Lucy so that it could not bite her again. Soon Lucy was free. The humans did not know how serious the dog's internal injuries were, but as soon as she was freed, she began to breathe deeply and whine. She was alive. While Kevin held the snake, Olivia brought a large container. They could take revenge on the creature that had already taken one dog from them and almost killed a second. But these people tried to live in harmony with nature. At that moment, it was necessary to urgently deliver Lucy to the vet. The people locked the puppies in the house and rushed to the clinic. Lucy was conscious and reacted to what was happening around her, but she was clearly in pain and whined a little. The snake could have broken her bones and damaged her internal organs. In addition, it was necessary to make sure that the snake bite did not fester. Although the python is not poisonous, any wound can become inflamed. At the hospital, an X-ray showed several broken ribs. But overall, Lucy was very lucky. If it weren't for the puppies who tried to protect her and attracted people's attention, everything could have ended very differently. For several days, people had to watch that the puppies did not jump on their mother and did not disturb her wounds. People carefully treated the bite site and gave the medications prescribed by the veterinarian. To their great joy, Lucy was quickly recovering. Now the whole family was safe. Olivia and Kevin decided to keep all 3 puppies with them. There was enough space on the farm for 4 dogs. That same puppy, the boy whom Kevin brought back to life at birth, grew up to be an exact copy of his father, not only in appearance but also in character. He built the same strong bond with Kevin that he once had with Lian. Now their large family was inseparable. As for the python, he was not killed, but taken to a natural enclosure. A serpentarium, where he could feel free, without the opportunity to return to the farm or threaten other farms. This was the best decision for everyone. In the end, there had to be enough space in this jungle for both people and animals. The main thing is that everyone knows their boundaries. Every evening, when the sun sets behind the edge of the tropical forest and the first stars light up in the dark sky of the Philippines, Olivia and Kevin watch with a smile as their 4-legged family plays in the yard. Lucy is still the same vigilant caring, looking after her now grown children. And they, having inherited the best qualities of both parents, reliably guard the farm. And although the pain of losing Lion will never disappear completely, his spirit lives in their children, and his story has become a legend that locals tell on long evenings, talking about love and loyalty and how important it is to always protect those you love.